Hello, welcome to Circle Time Preschool. Sue, our friends are here. Good morning, good morning. How are you? Good morning, good morning. How are you? I'm fine. I hope you are too. I'm fine. Hope you are too. Well, Sue, today we're going to talk about I is for igloo. Do you know what an igloo is? You don't? An igloo is a house made out of snow blocks. That sounds pretty cool, doesn't it? It sounds kind of cold, but we might find out in our science moment that it's not as cold as you think. Why don't you sit down, Sue, because we need to do our calendar time and figure out what day it is today. The month is January. And let's reach into our can and see how we will count. Jump. So are you ready to jump and count? Okay, here we go. I think I'll stand and jump. You can jump from your seat too if you like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Today is January 12th. Can you say that? January 12th. And if you go up to the top, you can see that the day of the week starts with a T and an H. Those two letters together make the sound the. So what day is it today? The. Thursday. Days of the week. 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 There's Sunday and there's Monday. There's Tuesday and there's Wednesday. There's Thursday and there's Friday. And then there's Saturday. Days of the week. 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 Well, it's time to check the weather, so look outside your window and see what the weather's like for you today. Maybe your weather is rainy, or maybe it's snowy. Maybe it's sunny or windy. When I do like this with my microphone, shout out whatever your weather is. Are you ready to sing? What's the weather? What's the weather? What's the weather like today? What's the weather? What's the weather? What's the weather like today? It is today. It is out today. Well, let's dress Weather Bear. Weather Bear, we're going to put on some pants for you. Pants. And we're going to put on a shirt with long sleeves. And we're going to put on a coat and a hat. There. And can you remember what season it is? Winter. The season is winter. Very good. Well, that was our calendar and weather time, and now it's time for letter of the day. Today's letter is the letter I. Can you say I? I. If your name has letter I, stand up. If your name has letter I, stand up. If your name has letter I, if your name has letter I, if your name has letter I, stand up. Well, today I is for igloo. And an igloo is a house made out of blocks of snow. So I just took some blocks of paper and I decorated my letter I to look like an igloo. So this is big I and there's little I. If you want to, you can just cut out some little blocks of paper and you can glue those all over your letter I. So what letter is this again? I. And now that we can recognize it, we're going to practice writing it. So to make a letter I, you first need to make a number 1. Number 1 with a top and a bottom. Can you make a number 1 with a top and a bottom? That is the big uppercase letter I. Let me show you. Make a 1 with a top and a bottom. 1 with a top and a bottom. 1 with a top and a bottom. That is the big letter I. I'd like to check and cheer for you. Did you make a big letter I? And if you don't have paper, just skywrite. 1 with a top and a bottom. Good job. Yes. Well, let me show you little I. Little I looks like a little number 1 with a dot. Little number 1 with a dot. That is the little letter I. 1 with a dot. 1 dot. 1 dot. Do you want to try to write little I? 1 with a dot. 1 with a dot. Let me check and cheer for you. Good job. Yes. I'm going to give you a sticker for handwriting time, and you can continue practicing if you want to. Here it comes. Well, now we know what I looks like. We know how to write letter I. So it's time to talk about the sound that I makes. I is one of those special letters we call the vowels. The vowels are A, E, I, O, U, A, E, I, O, U, A, E, I, O, U. These are the vowels. Well, the vowels are special letters because every word must have one. If it doesn't have a vowel, then it's not a real word. Every word has one or sometimes even more than one vowel. So whenever we talk about a vowel, we get a visit from one of the vowel people, and here he comes. This is my friend I. My friend I loves lollipops. He eats lollipops for breakfast. He eats lollipops for lunch. He eats lollipops for dinner. But when he eats all those lollipops, he gets icky and sticky, and he says, eh, eh, eh. Look at his face. Look at his clothes. Eh, eh, eh. Can you do? Take your hand, rub it like it's icky and sticky. Letter I makes this sound, eh, 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 like an icky sticky lollipop. And if you look really closely, you can see that his lollipop kind of looks like the letter I. I looks like a lollipop, an icky sticky lollipop. I says, eh, eh, eh. Well, you did a great job today with our letter learning. Now it's time to go over to the art table. We're going to make an igloo. Come on, everyone. For art today, we're going to make a milk jug igloo. I also have a water bottle here. Water comes in a jug, and it's only about $1, so this might be a good option if you don't have a milk jug and you want to make this today. Okay, so the first thing we're going to have to do is get a grown-up to cut the milk jug right in the middle. We want to get rid of this handle part. After the milk jug is cut in the middle, the grown-up at your house will have to cut a door for you right here. So turn it upside down And then grown-ups cut a little door right there. And that makes a little milk jug igloo. I think we can make it look even cooler if we add some cotton to the top to look like snow. So there you have it. We made a little igloo using a milk jug upside down. Now, if you don't have a milk jug, I have one other idea. You could also just use a paper bowl. Take your paper bowl upside down, cut a door in the side, and add some cotton on the top if you'd like. So there you have it. That's our art project for today. So here you have it. There's that little milk jug igloo. And the best part is you can put some of your little toys inside and outside. And this could be something fun for you to play with today. Well, for our story today, we're going to read a book about Curious George. Do you know who Curious George is? Curious George is curious today about ice and snow. Our book is called Curious George Builds an Igloo. Beautiful winter morning. George was up early. Next door, his friend Bill was up too. Bill was building a house out of snow. It's called an igloo, Bill said. I'm going to sleep in it tonight. George wanted to help. He also wanted to sleep in the igloo. It would be a lot of fun. George tried stacking some blocks of snow. It was not easy. They kept slipping and sliding. First, you make a circle in the snow, said Bill. The snow blocks go around the circle. This makes a sturdy base for more snow blocks to go on top. Bill showed George how to stack snow blocks on top of the base. Around and around they went until there was only a hole left at the top. The last piece is called a keystone, Bill said. It keeps all the other snow blocks in place. You have to fill in all the cracks, Bill said. This keeps the igloo nice and warm inside. They smoothed out the snow blocks. Bill and George filled all the spaces with snow. George was impressed, but Bill's igloo was a little small. George wanted to build his own igloo, a big igloo that could fit his bed and some friends and maybe a party and some music. George got to work. This time he made the circle bigger. He stacked the snow blocks around and around just as Bill had taught him. George worked on his igloo until the sun went down. It was a big igloo. It even had a window. But George was a tired monkey. He did not have time to fill all the cracks with snow. The man with the yellow hat helped move George's warm bed into the igloo. George bundled up and went to sleep. But soon George woke up. He was very cold. The window was drafty. The cracks were letting the cold air in. George really wanted to spend the night in an igloo. What could he do? Then George had an idea. The man had told George to come inside if he got cold, so George worked quickly and built a new igloo in his living room. It was nice and warm inside the house. He crawled into his new igloo and went to sleep again. The living room was the perfect temperature for sleeping, but it was too warm for a house made of snow. George's indoor igloo began to melt. When George woke up the next morning, his igloo had melted. It had turned into a big puddle and a big mess to clean up. Lucky for George, his outdoor igloo was still standing. The big igloo was too cold for sleeping, but it was just right for a party. George and his friends spent the whole winter playing in his big igloo until it melted away in the spring. Let's take a look at this last page. Look at all these things here. Which ones of these will melt? Can you help me decide? Ice cream. Ice cream will melt when it gets warm. And so will ice. The snowman. The snowman will definitely melt. Chocolate will melt. If you've ever had a piece of chocolate in your warm hand, you know that it gets pretty melty and sticky. A candle will melt when there's a fire on top. like a birthday candle that you must blow out. Have you ever seen it drip, drip, dripping down the side? And also butter. Butter will melt. It will get soft and it will even melt in the microwave. Well, I hope that you've had some fun today with I is for Igloo. Come back tomorrow for another Circle Time Preschool. Goodbye.